Welcome everybody. I introduce to you Giancarlo. He will present one of the two best practices today. And we also have here with us Elisa Corni, and she will present the second best practice called Forte delle Benne. Before starting with the two presentations, I wanted to introduce you to the reality of Trentino and summarizing the macro data that you were sent, so that you received in these days regarding the description of the labor market and population, so the demography and territorial description of the autonomous province of Trento. So the meeting is recorded, and if you don't want to be in the video, you can switch off your cam, and purposes of the registration are just for the aim and the sake of the project. And maybe Victor anticipated that videos will be or should be uploaded to the web page of the project itself.
Yes, I think it's a good thing to have it at our disposal, and it's always good to be able to come back whenever we want. So I think it's a good idea.
Perfect. The materials that will be presented today will be available in a few days' time, and Victor will send them to you in order to complete your SWOT analysis. This is the agenda. We started some minutes later than what expected, but I think we will catch up with this. As said, Giancarlo will present the inner area strategy, so the national strategy for inner areas, which is backed by both European funds and national funds. And in this regard, he will have a parenthesis looking into one of the case studies developing agriculture and rural economy, which is called Adopt a Cow. After a short break where we will have Q&As regarding the first best practice, Elisa will present the case of Forte delle Benne, and Giancarlo will introduce this best practice talking about the GAL, which is Gruppo d'Azione Locale, so the local action group, which tries to develop in strict correlation with LEADER, so another European direction, rural territories. And after that, we will have again a moment where question and answer will be available to be submitted to Elisa and to Giancarlo, and in closure we will have our steering committee. Introducing you to Trentino, as most of you know, Trentino is an autonomous province, and the region is composed both by South Tyrol and Trentino. The autonomy of the region is defined by constitutional law. That means that both provinces, Trento and Bolzano, so South Tyrol and Trentino, are independent and can define laws in specific fields and topics. Trentino's territory is composed by 16 communities. 16 communities that most of them are in rural mountainous areas. It is estimated that about the 80% of our 6,000 square kilometers are mountainous areas, and 60% of this territory lays above the 1,000 meters above sea level. On January 1st January 2021, Trentino scored a record in inhabitants, so the total population was about 545,000 people, and 64% of the population is in the group 15 to 64. The majority of the population, so 40% of the group, is in the the age group 40 to 64. Talking about sex distribution, it is quite even because male are about 49%, while female 51%. In 2065, the projection of people living in Trentino is expected to be 593,000. I wanted to underline one point in the research that was prepared, that was regarding the mountain areas. Trentino, as said, is constituted mostly by mountains, and I wanted to show you in this table how the population evolved according to the arithmetic, so where they are living. And you can see that from the 60s to the 70s, population grew faster in lower valleys, so where the biggest urban centers are located. So the cities such as Trento, Rovereto, Borgo Valsugana. In this regard, you can see that population tended to grow through over the time until 2011, and I don't have any more recent data, but tended to grow faster in lower location than in the highest places. It is still to be statistically shown how the COVID had an effect on this, but it is said that many people moved outside the urban centers towards villages, because, as said in our previous meetings, the living in villages permitted to be more free and to move freely and easier than what is permitted in urban centers, so in cities. Talking about employment situation, we have seen we have witnessed in the last 10 years a constant increase in the active population, and this growth was faster and non-proportional compared to the growth in the inactive group. So the non-in-labor force people account about 280,000 units, and this has always been the data. So if you see the data, the datum of 2010, it's about 280,000 people, while in 2019, the data is 282,000, so a small increase. While on the other side, the increase in employed people and people in search for occupation grew significantly. Talking about activity rates, the average for all age classes is set at 66.2% for women and 78.1% for men. The classes with the highest score of occupation, so the activity rate for age classes 30 to 50, is set at 80 for women and 95 for men. Unemployment is stable and keeps oscillating around the 6%. This data is declining, but still we don't have data about 2020. The projections, so the trimestral projections, show that there has been an increase in this data. Sorry. Talking about activity sector, the composition of where people work, it's like it is depicted in this table, and about 65% are working in tertiary, so other activity sector. 25% are employed in industry. Trentino is historically not an industrial region, and the remaining percentages show a 10% of labor force employed in trade and 5% employed in agriculture. Most of the people employed in trade and agriculture are sole employer or sole managers. And this is the main difference between the 90% composing the first two classes and the remaining 50%. I think this depicts the situation of Trentino, and I leave the floor to Giancarlo.
I don't know if maybe Luciano want to say something. I don't. Do you hear me? I don't see no more Luciano. Okay.
Luciano, microfono spento.
Ok.
Aperto, ok, ti sentiamo.
Good afternoon, everybody. Don't worry, only 2 words. A hug to the friends I already got to know. I have always known competence and enthusiasm about them. We present our best local development experiences and their most original concretizations. They seem to us to be good points for discussion and reflection. And I will leave you shortly. Everyone a happy Easter of hope. Very of hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Luciano.
Thank you, Luciano. First of all, I apologize for my bad English, but I hope you will understand all that I try to explain to you. I speak from the valley that is the center of the best practices that we will present today to you, and particularly I'm attending at a network, at management of a network of natural areas in Valsugana, in the southeast part of Trentino, and I'm also involved in some European project. The first, and now I try to okay. Okay. Do you see the slide? Perfect. The first best practice is a funny one in a sense, and is related to the activity connected to the inner or inland area strategy. What are the inner or inland area strategy? It's in Italian, it's strategia area interna. It started thanks to a partnership agreement signed in 2014 between European Union and Italian government, and an agreement for the development of the inner areas of Italy. That are the Italian particularly fragile areas with a high level of depopulation, but with very high environmental potentials. And this strategy, this agreement between European Union and Italy, is based on two pillars. One is the pillar of the operational program funded by the structural funds, European Social Fund, the European Agricultural Fund for Rural Development, and the European Regional Development Fund. And the second pillar is composed by national funds, specific national funds. It's important to say that this strategy don't foresee additional European funds for our region. The three structural funds, the amount of the three structural funds is the amount foreseen in the operation, in the normal operational program. In addition, we have more or less 590 million euros that Italian government put on the table for this kind of activities. What is the strategy? The aim, the objective of this strategy is to improve the educational services, the health services, and the mobility in some areas of Italy that have particular characteristics. And the improvement in these three sectors is realized through some local development projects related to the protection of the territory, to the natural and cultural resources, sustainable tourism, agri-food, renewable energies, and handicraft. What are the inner areas in Italy? In Italy, we have this kind of areas are areas with a high degree of the population, are areas that are far from the big center, that have difficulties related to the mobility. And in Italy, we have more or less the 60% of all the territory that is covered by this kind of areas. It means more or less 52% of all the municipalities in Italy, and more or less the 22% of the inhabitants, 13.5 million of inhabitants. These are the inner areas in Italy. The strategia area interne, covered only a part of this area, not all these areas, but is related to the areas that we that I have shown in the map. There are 72 areas spread all over the Italy, particularly in the mountain areas. This one is the dorsal of the mountain of Apennini. Another big part of these areas are located in the Alpine region, in the mountain Alpine region, and some other in other far areas in Italy, Sardinia, Sicily, or the delta of Po River. 72 areas all over the state, all over Italy, more or less 1,000 municipalities, and 2 million of inhabitants. That is about 30.5% of all inhabitants of Italy. And the inner areas cover more or less 17% of the Italian territory. In this area, there are 72 specific projects that try to solve the difficulty that I showed in the previous slide. Regarding, as you can see here, we are here in Trentino, and in Trentino we have two of this pilot project. That one, the Tesino and Valsugana, is that one where we live and where about which we talk about. The other one is in Valle di Sole. This is the Trentino, our region, and this one is the inner strategy we talk about in this occasion. Our area, the Tesino area, pilot project Tesino area, the yellow part of the map, is composed by 3 municipalities, three very little municipalities that altogether sums at 2,200 people. This is the most little inner area in Italy. And together with the core area of the project, there are other 15 municipalities, a little bit bigger, close to this area, that compose altogether the Comunità Valsugana e Tesino. This area is characterized by we are a mountain region, as also Daniele told previously, and this is a typical, our typical landscape. Hills, this is the valley, the hills and the mountain. The peak is in our valley in Tesino and Valsugana is 2,847 meters, the Cima d'Asta, and the lower part is more or less 400 meters. But the core of the area is this one. As you can see, they are very, very little villages in the mountain areas. And the area outside the villages is composed by many pastures, alpine pastures and forests, and in this area during the summer there is a specific activity related to the farmers. Here we are three other images of our mountain are typical areas of our valley. As Daniele told previously, the activity are also in our valley are not related to industry. We have only few industries in our valley. We have a lot of handicraft. We have a good developed tertiary sector, and we also have agriculture. And we have in the last, I can say, 10, 15 or 20 years, in our areas, it's developed a good sustainable tourism related to the trekking by path or by bike in mountain areas, the hospitality, specific cottages that compose an offer that is named Vacanze in Baita. It's holidays in huts. And naturally, in our mountain area, we have also the agriculture. Daniele told that in Trentino, the employment for agriculture is only 5%, more or less. And the situation in Valsugana and Tesino is not very different. We have a little bit more agriculture in our valley, but not too much. But in Trentino, and particularly in Valsugana and Tesino, we have a specific activity related to the summer farms activity, that is the alpine farms. In Valsugana, we have 57 alpine farms. Most of them are property of the municipality. And in these farms, the farmers bring the cows from June to September for the summer period in the alpine pastures. And in these alpine farms, they product cheese, butter, yogurt, and some other typical production of this sector. In this map, I show with the red cross where are 12 of these alpine farms, and they are the 12 alpine farms that at the moment for the 2021, they are involved in the project that I present to you. The project Adopt a Cow. Adopt a Cow is an idea that is born in 2005, thanks to the idea of our company for the promotion of tourism, azienda promozione turistica Valsugana Lagorai, that in the last 10 years is working very well and very hardly in activity related to sustainable tourism. Moreover, 2 years ago, Valsugana APT, Valsugana Lagorai, obtained the certification as first destination in Italy and one of the 5 fourth in the world for the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, certification of destination of sustainable tourism. I said that in 2005, thanks to a degree of a young girl that was studied activity related to tourism, they invented the Adopt a Cow initiative. That is the possibility. It's a funny project. Born in Valsugana and Lagorai. Lagorai is the name of all our mountain. To let you the beautiful nature of these mountains, to teach how cheese is made, following faithfully all the recipes, and to show you what it means to live in an alpine hut and watch over cows on mountain pastures. In a few words, it's a project related that has the aims to sustain an economic activity, an agricultural economic activity, to sustain sustainable tourism, and in a particular way. Paying 65 euros every year, a person all over the world can adopt a cow. We will see on the website in a few minutes. And this is 65 euros for cow, goes to 50 of them directly to the alpine hut for the maintenance of the cow during the summer. 50 of them are devoted to charity projects and very little measured to the project management, to the management of the project. It's not a very, it's not the only example of this kind of activity, of this kind of project all around Italy or in Europe, but it has a particularity that is this one. You have to go to the alpine hut to have the product, to have the cheese, the butter, the yogurt, and so on, because the projects want to strictly connect the production of agricultural products to the sustainable tourism in our areas. The aims are three, as I told previously: to help a typical economic activity, the alpine farmers, to improve sustainable tourism in mountain areas, and to help specific social projects and associations. Every year, some local and not local social projects and associations are helped with the money of this project. As I told previously, in 2021, we have 12 at the moment, 12 alpine farms involved in the project. Last year, they were 16, and probably also this year we will arrive at the same number, because many municipalities that are the property of the alpine farms rent them during the spring. Between March and April, the municipality rent this farm to the private farmers, and so at the moment, for some of them, they don't know who will be the farmers that will go to in them. And it's an initiative that it's interesting also for the employment of our area, and also for the female activities. In of these 12 alpine farms, also fixed for this year, 5 of them are managed by young farmers, by under 40 farmers that manage these farms with their family, and 5 of them are managed by women. So it's important both for the young employment and then for the women employment. Some data. In 2020, they had 2,500 adoption. That it means an income of 125,000 euros directly for the farmers. It's a good income for this kind of activity, and moreover, 25,000 euros were devoted last year to the social projects in our area. I tried to go to the website. Okay. Do you see it? The screen? Okay, perfect. This is the website of the company of promotion of tourists in our area, and only 2 minutes to show you what to do the tourist. If you want to adopt a cow, you can choose. You can choose the alpine farm, the alpine huts, where you want to choose your cow. For example, we go to Maiga, Vai Coperta di Sotto. Maiga is the name of our alpine farms. Here you can find some photos and some very few information about where is the alpine farm and what it produced. And then you can choose your specific cow. You can choose Belen, and you can adopt it, filling your name, your data. You can adopting Belen in this case as a gift for another person, and when you have handed to fill the form, in the days, some days later, you received the document with the identity card that I've shown previously, with the identity card of the cow, with the data related to the position of the alpine farm, when the name of the farmers, the data for contact him, because you have to go in that farm, in that alpine farm during the summer, usually between half of June and half of September, to keep your products and to meet your cow naturally. You send it, and you have, in this way, you have adopted the cow. I said previously that the funny things of the the important thing is that you have to go in the Alpine art. There are many other projects similar to this one, but related to adopt a bee, adopt a tree, adopt some other animals or plants. But in all the other cases, the farmers send to you at your home the products. In this case, it's different, and I think it's a particularly project, funny and interesting also for the economy in general of our area, because the people that come here to meet their co and to keep the product remain maybe 1, 2, 3 days in the valley and spend money for other products, or for meat and for sleep and so on. Now I try to launch to a very short video that I hope that it runs. Where is this one? You hear?
Andiamo!
Okay. And finally, I say that this initiative is particularly appreciated from tourists that come from the cities, by children that love very much to meet their proper cow. Okay, I think that I can stop the presentation of this best practice of Valsugana and Lavorare.
Thank you, Giancarlo. As you have seen, this is a practice that connects two different worlds. It links the outside world from the valley, so the non-rural area to the rural area. It brings the people to the location, and it boosts the local economy. So the people coming from cities or outside the region or even outside of Italy adopting the cow, they come and they boost the local economy. That's the positive return of this project. It seems to be funny, but it is studied, and the return to this project is really positive. As Giancarlo said, children and families love to come to visit their cows, and so what are you waiting for? You need to adopt your cows. And come to Trentino, of course, when the travel ban are lifted. But aside from the jokes, many new farmers, so the so-called, it is a direct translation from the primo insediamento, the first settlement of this pastors, so the people working in agriculture, is significantly boosted by such activities, because they gain fast returns from these activities. They gain in publicity, in marketing, and people tend to familiarize and to come again in the years and buy the local products. It is not a one-to-one relation, so it's not the person adopting the cow going only to the hut, but it's the person coming to Trentino and having a full experience. And this implements not only the return of one person, but the return to the whole territory. The person coming to the Tesino area, they tend to stay longer, so they stay in a hotel, or maybe they rent a house, so the economy is boosted. Such territories, they are peripheral. They usually don't have so much tourism, but such activities are boosting both the agricultural part and also the touristic development of these areas. The Tesino areas, as Giancarlo mentioned, has beautiful mountains, but they are not so known compared to Dolomites or other mountains of Trentino. And this activity made it possible for many people outside Trentino to come and get to know this region and get to know this rural area. Tesino, thanks to the inner area strategy and minor activities, economic activities and development activities, is developing and growing forth. As said, the inner area strategy is pointing towards infrastructure, so connecting the Tesino area with the urban areas, with Trento and Rovereto, and this infrastructural investment will make it possible to boost further the tourism sector and linking the people outside Tesino going to these areas. It is difficult to explain every single aspect and characteristic of the strategy of inner areas, but what is really important to stress is that inner areas is composed by two types of fundings. One is the European funds coming to the territory, and such as the European Agricultural Rural Development Fund, which are funding activities such as the first settlement and the agricultural sector we have witnessed with Adopt a Cow, and national fundings. One part of the fundings, they finance an economical development, while most of them develop services, infrastructure, connection, education. And this as a whole strategy is relaunching the inner areas of Italy, not only of Tesino. It is quite a new strategy for Italy, but it already has positive returns. As said, as anticipated by Giancarlo, inner areas in Trentino covers 2 areas, but in the near future we will have 4. And maybe these positive returns and from this best practice and many more can be replicated in different territories of Trentino. if you have questions.
Thank you, Giancarlo. Thank you, Daniele. I have to say, I like very much the idea of the obligation to go there to the tourists, to the people who adopt the car, just because it's against these Amazon times where all the consumers want to shop from house and to be delivered with the products immediately. So I like very much the idea, and I think it's a very nice way to promote all the activity around the area, the touristic area, and to make people know the area. I have a couple of questions about the inner areas. Do they have to comply any kind of condition, or it's voluntarily, or do you have to have any kind of socio-economic condition to be in the program?
Yes, it's not. Yes, it's both on a voluntary base, but it is defined by socio-demographic indicators. The areas need to be peripheral. They need to show a negative trend in population growth, and in terms of services, they are let's say the sluggish areas. So they are a bit behind with respect to the more developed areas. That means that at this moment, the inner areas takes into consideration about 21 indicators. Such indicators are not based only on population, but population plays a great. It's really important on the evaluation of the area itself. But it's also evaluated what's the distance between the area and the nearest hospital, how many services are provided in that area, such as schools, are there any point of reference for the living population there to speak with the public administration, and many others, such as the presence of roads, so the absence of infrastructure, the presence of broadband internet, so the fast line or slower line, slower connection, and also economic indicators such as the presence or absence of tourism activities or trade activities. In the area of Tesino, for example, a big investment will be devoted to the development of a cycling road, which will connect most part of the area. And the intention of developing this cycling road is that of boosting further tourism, connect that area with the remaining part of the valley, and making also possible to have a more sustainable way of life, letting people go to work by bicycle and not just by car.
Okay. I have another two questions for Giancarlo. Giancarlo, I'd like to know if the idea of the project came from the owners from the farmers, it came from the municipalities or the council of municipalities, or how was born the initiative? And the other question is, where do the people who adopt come from? They all of them come from cities, from the north of Italy, the south, from another countries? I don't know.
Okay, thank you. Regarding the first question, the idea started from a degree thesis of a girl of Tesino, of Castello Tesino. They proposed this kind of project, and immediately the local company for the promotion of tourism started to realize it. and to realize it. And also immediately the farmers, the alpine farmers, are very happy with this idea, and they started to work together. So we have from one part the company for the promotion of tourism, APT Valsugana Lagorai, and on the other side the farmers. These are the two subjects involved in the project. Regarding the people that adopt the cow, the most of them are from cities and from the region close to Trentino, Veneto, Lombardia, and Emilia-Romagna. And there are some deep also. For example, this year, I know that 2 cows are adopted, are gifted for a famous Italian journalist, a woman, and the Italian captain of the captain of the Italian volleyball team, for example. And because it's a funny idea, it's many people like it, also outside our region. The most part of the cows are adopted from people outside Trentino, and this is important because it's the people that come to meet the cow and to take the products remain at least 1 or 2 days in Trentino, and so help all the economy of our region, our valley.
I have a question. Yeah. I try to understand the good practice. What I saw in the presentation was that the 57 alpine farms, they are public. What does it mean, public? Is it financed by a government, local government, regional government? I also hear something of volunteers. So are these farms professional run, or is it more like attract people, come in a rural area, and the tourism will increase? So what is the main point of this good practice?
Well, alpine huts, you say public, but they are publicly owned. That means that they are property of the municipalities, and each year or every 3 years there is an auction where farmers can bid higher and higher in order to bring their cows to that specific place and let them graze the land. It doesn't mean that farmers will get any money, but it's the contrary. They will give money in order to use the place for farming during the summer months. I see you're quite puzzled about this, but that's the way it goes. It's like when you go to holiday, you rent a house. Now, in summer, farmers bring cows to holiday to alpine huts, so they pay the alpine huts. And
is it possible that I can stay at a farm? So I come from the Netherlands, I go to one of the farms, I want to stay there 1 week, 2 weeks.
It is
possible in a touristic area.
In some places it's possible both to visit and to stay. In other places it's only possible to go there and have a great lunch, have a walk in the nature, and go back to the hotel or to another place.
Yeah, but is it a good idea that they, for instance, make some bed and breakfast activities in these farms, so that you can give it a more attractive.
Yes, but
yeah.
it's not really common for most of them. They need to take some kind of degree in order to open these such activities, and they need to achieve some certification by the province. So they follow some courses and they can open these agritourism activities where they both are growing their products, they are farming the lands, and they have their cows and animals, and they produce some products such as dairy products or jams or juices or whatever, and they need by law to use such products in their bed and breakfast, so in their agritourism. So when you're coming from the Netherlands to Trentino and you go in such a place, you will have your breakfast with fresh milk, jam, fresh bread, all produced in-house. So it's not bought from the mall, from the shop, but it's produced from there.
Fantastic.
You have to switch from the Canary Islands to Trentino sometimes. Okay. Maybe Theo was mentioning about this part of the voluntary because of the percentage you've seen in the slide talking about the fee of adopting the cow, the 15 euros of going to social projects. Giancarlo, do you have any further insight into this?
I haven't understood for what, where goes this money?
This the 65 euros fee adopting the cow are composed by 50 euros for the cow and 15 euros for social projects, which are usually linked to the environment, but also to
every year the company for promotion of tourism decided to which project helped with this money, and they could be association project and association for helping children, for helping health activity, for helping voluntary association. I remember in the last on the website you can find. I try to. It's where is. I try to find the association. No, I don't find them. For example, last year they support free voluntary association in our valley, the Red Cross Association of our valley, and so every year they change the kind of project that they support. I haven't here the list of the project, but I can provide you with them. Have you heard?
Yes. So every year they they invest in different social activities. The return is again either on the territory or linked to social causes such as animal protection or even to health. For example, in many years they gave the tourism board gave this money to the research institute for cancer and severe diseases, and so it's really positive to have such project, because on one side you have a positive return on the territory, and on another side you are investing in some social causes as well. I think it's about time to leave the floor to the second best practice, introduced again by Giancarlo, talking about the GAL and the LEADER project, and then by...
Sorry. Daniele, could I make another question just about the numbers? It's a very easy question. Do you have any idea of how many people have visited Trentino since you have the control of the cows adopted, but then they can go the whole family with children, and maybe there are many more people that have visited, and for how many days, maybe in terms of a weekend or something like that?
Yes, you take the number of adopted cow and you multiply it by an average Italian family, which is 4, and average permanent stay, so they stay here for short term. So it's not 1 week time, but usually they spend 3 to 4 days.
Okay.
Daniele, one question that maybe I don't listen better, that is only one payment. Every year you can adopt a different cow, no? For example?
For example, you can decide to adopt one cow in one specific mountain hut, and the next year, maybe the farmer changes mountain hut, he goes to another place, and you want to have again, I don't know, Belen or whatever the name of the cow was, and you want to follow your cow. Sorry, it's funny, but it's like this, and you can choose to invest in another mountain hut with the same cow, or otherwise you can adopt another cow you prefer.
It's funny to know that in some cases there are some adopting people that call to the company of promotion of tourism to know if his or her cow is going well, is safe or not.
Of course, it's a matter of fidelity also.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
okay. Giancarlo, do you want to introduce the second part?
Only few minutes, only few words to introduce the next best practice, and then I give the floor to Elisa. This initiative is connected to the LEADER strategy, to the activity of the local action group. I think that all of you know what is LEADER initiative, and in Italy we have exactly 200 local action group located in all our region, and in Trentino we have also 2 of them. Only Valle d'Aosta region has less local action group, it's 1, and we have only 2 local action group, but as you can see from seeing the coins, they have a quite good budget at disposal to realize their activities. And in Trentino, the local action group that we talk about is working on this, more or less on the same area they took previously related to the Innerland, is the local action group Trentino Orientale, that it's composed by 41 municipalities for a total of more or less 96,000 inhabitants. And as at the disposal, more or less 11.6 million euros, most of them obviously dedicated to the public tenders, to the specific project on the land, 9.3 million euros, a little part to the preparatory action related to the writing of the project in 26,000 euros, and one part to the management, 1.8 million euros, and more or less 500,000 euros dedicated to the territorial cooperation. The strategy of the Trentino Orientale local action group is related to the, its title is The Great Paths in the Footsteps of History. And as the aims of pursuing sustainable development, thanks to a new and improved tourist offer, which encourages experiential tourism, strongly integrated, especially with the sectors of agriculture, crafts, and culture. For pillars, the first one related to the modernizing, diversifying, and developing the farms. The second one for the qualification of the tourist offer. The third one to recover the cultural heritage, and the final one related to the increase the quality of and innovation of local business. These are the seven different actions that local action group is running, with the public call, public tenders related to supporting of vocational training, enhancement of a local agricultural production, the reclamation of uncultivated land, the diversification of the activities of agricultural enterprises, supporting the development of non-agricultural activities, the improvement of tourism and infrastructures, and the last one, that it's one that is related to our best practice of today, the historical and cultural heritage of the area. I stopped my very short presentation and I give the floor to Elisa.
Thank you, Giancarlo. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Elisa. I want to thank you to listen to my presentation, and I want to thank Giancarlo for inviting me here, because today I will tell you a story. Let's say tell you this story about the reality in which I work. That is an Austro-Hungarian fort built before the First World War. And maybe you ask, why are we talking about something so old? Because thanks to the leader and the GAL project, we renewed and we made it a very modern touristical structure. But to help me, don't forget anything and not speak randomly, because otherwise I would go on telling you things about the fort and who we are and what we're doing. Let me use this presentation. Can you see it? Okay. This will help me give you and orientate myself into this story that I know very well, but because of this I could go on and on. So this story begins in 2014, or to be more precise, in the past. Forte delle Benne is an Austro-Hungarian fortification built in the 80s of the 19th century. Why are we talking about Austro-Hungarian while we are in Italy today? Because until 1918 and until the end of the First World War, Trentino, northeastern Italy, was part of this empire. But it has always been an Italian mother language area. And that's the reason why when Italy began his reunification in the 19th century, they wanted to conquer this area and unify Trentino with the rest of Italy. Maybe you have heard the name of Garibaldi. He is a very famous historical figure in Italy, and he is one of the persons who made the reunification possible. Austro-Hungary, the Habsburgs, knew that Italy wanted to conquer this area. And so in the middle of the 19th century, they decided to fortify Trentino, building something like 60 forts, small, medium, or very large ones, all over Trentino. Starting from the city of Trento, that was actually a militarized area, and then going onwards in the valleys. Helped by the mountains, they had a very easy job because they just had to close the valleys. And Valsugana was one of them because it is connected to Veneto today. That time, a indirect line with Italy. They built Forte delle Benne in between 1884 and 1889, but it became obsolete very quick. The technology moved so fast at that time, the war technology, that at the beginning of World War I, Forte delle Benne was declared unusable, too old, and it was closed and abandoned. In 2008, the autonomous province of Trento began restoring and securing works in this building. This was a great project to put in security every fortress of the First World War. We are talking about, I've told you, about 60 buildings. Most of them were heavily destroyed by the war because they took part in the war, not as Forte delle Benne. And in 2014, this works stopped, ended, and it begins our story. I am the project manager of the Cultural Association Forte delle Benne that began in 2014 this adventure in the fort. We began it as volunteers as the works ended. So 2014, no plan for the fort. It's new, it can be opened, but nobody has a plan for it. We were just a group of young people that had a degree and had no job at that time. So we went to the mayor of Levico, owner of this fort, and we asked him if we could open it as volunteer. We wanted no money. But it has had no sense for us to leave such a monument closed to the people. And so we opened the fort very randomly and very unconsciousness, without consciousness. So we had, as an example, no insurance in case of anything happened. Luckily, nothing happened that year. But the first activities and the first opening had a great success. In the first summer, with no sure timetable, no opening hours, just randomly opening it, we had more than 1,000 visitors. So it was something good for the area in which we are. Between 2015 and 2021, this volunteering operation became something more specific, more built, more structured, and it had a cultural project. It was both touristical and cultural at the same time. So we pushed in two directions. One direction is use the fort as a location for exhibition and activities. Since 2015, we have no-stop art exhibition, historical exhibition, photo exhibition, activities for kids, families passionate about history, and so on. The other part is the guided tours, and this has become for us a job. All of us, I'm speaking like we are a family because we feel like a family today. All of us in the summer work as guiding tours in the fort. The target of our project is not only one. We have three different targets, especially in the centenary of the First World War. The target was passionate about history. Many people came to visit the fort because they were interested in visiting a fort, or that specific fort that they didn't visited before. There is a tourism passionate about history that is very big, and they really go anywhere to see what are the remains of the First World War. The second target, Levico is in Valsugana, has a lake and has a long history as a touristical place. Since the 19th century, since the Habsburg period, since the Belle Époque, many tourists came in Levico. First of all, because it was a thermal location. We have two therms in Levico, one down in the city and another one up in the mountains in Vetriolo. And then this tourism has changed in the decades, and in the years, and now it has another identity. It's no more a typical 19th century touristical identity, but it has never stopped this touristical identity in Levico. And last but not least, we have many families. To reach the fort, you can climb a nice hill, see an amazing view on the valley, have contact with nature and with the environment, and then you reach a place, the chance to make something with family. That's why we have three targets, and we have three directions for our projects. First of all, narrating local history. As Giancarlo has said, our history is part of our identity, and so one of our aims is to widespread the history of Trentino, that it's not the history of Italy, is something different because of this being part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Second of all, we have an artistic soul, and so we always dedicate one floor of the fort. The fort has 4 levels. One of them is always dedicated to art exhibition, and we want to give space to young artists. It's free for them to have exhibition. I don't know in your countries, but in Italy, if you are a young artist, you have to pay to have a place to make an exhibition. And so we decided to give free space to young artists. And the third aim we have is the edutainment. So educate young people, children, families, scholars, and so on, having fun and giving them information about what they are seeing. Historical, but not only. We always have an eye on the environment and on science and on the nature around us. This is a young project. You can see this picture was taken last year after the opening of the fort. We are no longer so young, 7 years have gone, but in the team we are not everybody has a degree because they are studying in the university, some of the people working in the fort. And in this 7 year, about 20 people have worked at least one season in the fort as touristical guide, giving their time, their knowledge, learning something and improving their work experience. Some of us no longer work in the fort because have other activities, other work experience. Most of my ex-colleagues that always come to the fort are now teachers, but some of them work for museums or institutions in Trentino, like Fondazione Museo Storico, that is a very important foundation in Trentino for local history. Good. Why GAL? Because in 2017 we had a question. The fort was not was empty, and we were not always there when it was open. So we wanted to develop further and different ways to explore it. That was not only the guided tour and the guided tour with a guide. Thanks to the GAL, we reached a financiation for no, it's not digitalize. In English, it's a false friend. Oh, sorry. How is that? To make a digital visit tours inside the fort. Sorry, it's a false friend.
Virtual tours.
Sorry, Daniele?
Virtual tours.
Virtual tours. Thank you very much. And so this is a video. Okay, so you have seen we have 3 different virtual tours, different in target, in technology, and in meaning of it. The first tour we improved was Imperial Fortresses, in Italian Fortezze Imperiali. This tool is an app that is installed on the tablets and smartphones of the fort. In the forts, you have big wall, very thick walls, and so there is no Wi-Fi and no internet signal. So we had to solve the problem, and we decided that the application will be on tools that were of the fort. So people who want to visit the fort with this digital system can make it with our tools and not with their own. Sorry, but that's a big limit. The target of this tour are the passionate about history. As you have seen in the video, the QR code gives you the opportunity to read a very specific text about the room in which you are. The text are like the guided tour. So they are the chance to visit the fort without the guided tour when we are not there, when the tours, when the guides are not there. So with these imperial fortresses, we could solve this big problem of not having always a disposal for guided tours. We do guided tours in Italian, English, German, and Spanish. So we are also international. The second virtual tour is through art. I have told you about our creative soul, artistic soul. So on the tablets and on the smartphone of the fort, you can make the application start, and through augmented reality, the tourists can explore the fort through an interpretation of the rooms made by artists. We involved 7 young artists that made 12 art pieces, digital art pieces. Some of them are videos, some of them are sounds, some of them are very funny things. As an example, as you activate one of them, you will receive like WhatsApp, so you can chat with a young soldier. We have found a collection, a private collection of letters written by a young soldier, Gioacchino was his name, and he wrote letters to his mother. We transformed, the artist, with our help, transformed these letters into chat, and you can chat with Gioacchino while you are walking around the fort. So it's something very creative and immersive. You are thrown into history when you have this application activated. The third one and the last one is an edutainment application only on the tablets that are for free for visitors. They don't have to pay anything. They just enter and ask us for the tools. We have installed a game. It's called Werkspiele in German, to remember the Habsburg history of the fort. And you have 5 games, small games for kids that are not like shot everybody you can see, but they have an educational aim. So the aim we developed in this project was to give information without giving them. As an example, you have seen in the video, the kids had to, the players, not only kids play to this game, the players have to combine the weight of the things. So they learned that inside the fort there was an elevator that brought things from the ground floor to the other floors. Or you have another game that introduces the information about the communication with wireless communication through mirrors between the fortifications. So information without giving them. And kids are having a lot of fun, not only kids, players. Okay. This is the past. What about the future? Forte delle Benne is not the only fort we have in the surrounding. We have other structures, not only war structures, like Forte di Tenna or the Forte Busagranda in the surrounding, or the Torre degli Avancini. It's a 19th century tower that can be seen in Levico. Is a very interesting building. And the administration of the communes around Levico have asked us to begin to open these forts or buildings for them from this year. So 2021 is a good year for our association because we are beginning to grow. And we decided to call this the small scattered museum of the forts. About the digitization of the projects, we participated in several calls for funding, national and not only national calls, to first of all translate all the things that we have already done in English at least, but we hope also in German, because the tourists, the foreign tourists are mostly Germans, and the English language can be read and spoken by most of the people in Europe. And the second of all, we want to digitalize also the other structures we are opening. But meanwhile, and this is something very new, I show you, nobody has seen anything about this. With Rete Riserve Fiume Brenta, Giancarlo can tell us about something, I think, later on. We have begun a new project that is an edutainment project, not in a place, but in the lakes of Caldonazzo and Levico area. And we are already building some games to understand the nature and the environment of this area. So this is already going on. And you can see the first image of this. Nobody has seen that. It's something unseen. Good. If you want to contact us or to explore what we have done and who we are, you can contact us or visit our website or our social media. And I'm over it. I was a little bit shorter than what it was expected. Maybe I speak very fast. But so we have more time for questions. Okay.
Thank you very much, Lisa. I think that even this best practice is shows us and shows to the partnership a great example of youngsters not having at the beginning the means and the resources to be employed, and they decided to be self-employed by constituting this association, and then they used all the instruments they gained through their education years. So being digital, being smart, and also connecting all of these parts to the roots, so the cultural and historical heritage from where they belonged. And so it shows also being entrepreneurial, being digital, and being linked to the heritage and the areas from where they belong.
Thank you.
Questions?
I have one question. I visited your website, and I thought you will explain something about skies of Manawak, but it's not part of your presentation. Why not?
Why not? Because Skies of Manawak wasn't made for this project, but the two young informatic and artists who worked with us on the Werkspiele had made Skies of Manawak as their PhD research project. And we decided to put Skies of Manawak inside the app to give another possibility to the people, and also to give the opportunity to Skies of Manawak to be shown. So Skies of Manawak is a very interesting game. It's not only a game, it's very educational. It's used for young people having to read or to pay attention when they study. Usually these people are helped through very boring games, black and white, no fun. They are games to make their cognitive system pay attention to one thing and then the others. So they joined, so the two, the informatic and the artist, worked with another PhD student from Rovereto. She was working with the cognitive things, so they didn't invent it. They concentrated about it and they made a very scientific work. They joined the three aspects, so informatics, and then the aesthetic of it, and the fun of it, and the gaming part of it, and the cognitive part. We wanted to give relevance to their work because we thought it was very interesting, and so we put it in the project, but it wasn't projected for the fourth. It's something pre-fourth and then insert in the fourth project.
Let me share with you something. First of all, congratulations, Elisa, for your presentation and your initiative. Let me share with you something I found yesterday at home. I knew I did a trip and I crossed the Trentino province some time ago, and I knew I had visited fortification. Yesterday I saw some documents I had at home. It was the Belvedere fortification, that it's not far from La Barone. I think it's not far from there. And I remembered I like it a lot, and it was in perfectly good shape, the fortification. I have a question about this. At that time, I didn't know if I was there that I could adopt a cow. I didn't know that, so maybe at that time it was not possible. But I don't know if this kind of fortifications have a network or something like that, or they are managed together, because maybe you can offer this initiative to the other fortifications that are quite a lot. I don't know if you can tell us something about it. Thank you.
Oh, the remembrance of Werkgeschwend, Forte Belvedere, it's very interesting. That fort is something unique because already in 1929 Mussolini decided to make it a touristical place to show the greatness of Italy that won World War I. Okay, so it has a very long history of touristical place. It's the most visited fort in Italy, in Trentino for sure, but one of the most visited also in Italy. We have fortifications that are from the Napoleon era, so very different aspects, but Belvedere is one of the most visited, and it has a very interesting structure. Very different from ours, but not so far away. So when you come back and you adopt a cow, come to visit Forte delle Benne also. There is a structure from the province of Trento that's called Circuito dei Forti del Trentino. I put you a link, the link in the chat here. It's the Fondazione, the Foundation Museo di Trento that coordinates it. But you have to understand that the situation here is very different. So you have forts like Forte delle Benne that are not so far away from a town, a city, that can be controlled, can be toured, that are visitable. You have others that are on the mountain, so far away. So the situation is very different from each fort from another. But the coordination goes along the communication, for sure. So the province speaks about the port system and has projects all together. We are surely open to give these our application to other ports, and we discussed it last year, but then COVID came up and we had no longer meeting that were not only about organizing the thing we had to do. But I hope in the future our project can be replicated in all the forts with different content because every fort has a different history. So I hope so. As an example, just to explain you the differences between the forts, you have some of them that were built in the 50s of the 19th century and they became obsolete a decade later. And then you have some of them like Belvedere that are built in beton. Forte delle Bene is 100% stones. So just this changed a lot the experience of visiting them. Forte Belvedere and Forte delle Bene are two totally different things. Have you any curiosity about the new project we are working on with, maybe Giancarlo, can you tell us something about the Rete Riserve?
If Daniele permit us to, to tell something about it, we have only a few minutes, I think. When I presented myself at the start of the speech, I told that I'm attending the Rete di Riserve to Brenta. It's a network of environmental areas that are coordinated by an association of municipalities. And the aim of this network is to preserve them from an environmental point of view and to promote them for sustainable tourism that is linked to all our valley. In Trentino province, there are 10 networks of these environmental areas that work in a coordinated way all over the province. And all of them, all the 10 networks have the same topics, the same aim to preserve these areas from an environmental point of view and to promote sustainable tourism inside them. I don't want to take other minutes. Eventually, the network of the Rete Riserve could be the theme of another meeting in the future or another project.
Okay, so thank you, Elisa, and thank you, Giancarlo. Victor.
Yes, I do have another question connected to what I read in your information we shared before. These kind of games were adapted to children with kind of trouble of disabilities or dyslexic trouble. How did you do this? And I don't know if this this has different conditions, different characteristics from other games. I don't know if you can explain us something about it.
Okay, I didn't actually participated to the strictly building of the game. I made the scientific researches and I made the project management of it. But during all the work we made together with Adriano and Zeno, the two colleagues, with them we projected and built the games. I have learned something. The first aspect is that for children that have special necessities, we call them like that in Italian, you have to be sure to give the information in the right way. So not too long phrases, the right words, and not too many movements, unnecessary movements, but enough to train their attention and repeat the things many times so that they begin to memorize them. And then meanwhile the game goes on, use the words not so much so that they have to remember it. These are a few of the tricks that they used to build the games. But if you want, I can put you in contact with the two projectors of the game, so that they are specific about that. Also, the fonts you use, you have to be aware they have no decoration, that there is space enough between one letter and the other one, so that they can read each letter very well. So these are very simple things you can use to make it better for people, not only children that are dyslexic or dyscalculators and so on.
Thank you. Thank you again, Elisa and Giancarlo. Today, you partners, you witnessed our best cases. It was kind of different from usual. I think that such practices kind of surprise you because we managed to link entrepreneurial ability addressing different topics. On one side, a more traditional one, agriculture and farming, and to the other one, cultural sector, which is seen less and less important from our policymakers. And usually there is less investment in culture and history than what is given into other sectors, but it is important to remind that also culture is part of our heritage and can boost entrepreneurial ability, as we have witnessed. I think that you can work well on your SWOT analysis. You had many insights into this, and if you have any questions, if you want to visit the mountain huts or Forte delle Benne, you're welcome in Trentino. And maybe we can move on from this and start with our steering. Victor, what do you say?
Well, I have to say that I just had contact with somebody from another project, and she has over the years adopted 2 cows.
Really?
She doesn't know Forte delle Benne, but she has adopted 2 cows.
Has she come visiting us?
Most likely.
Great.
Okay, so if there are not more questions, maybe we can talk a bit about the project. And if it's the case, I would like to say to you just a couple of things or proposals also. First of all, I
Sorry,
have.
Victor, I think we can free Elisa and
Okay,
Giancarlo.
Maybe so. Yeah.
So it's a more technical part, and thank you for your cooperation. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I'll
Elisa.
wait for
Thank you,
you.
Giancarlo.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye bye.